guys, welcome back to our channel. Today we wanted to talk you through our story of our move and why we are still sitting here 365 days later since we sold back in September on this very day, which is Thursday the 17th. Why did we move? Why did we want to move? So we decided to move last January, and we made that decision based on a number of things. Firstly was space. We are a family of 5, which I've already mentioned in my last video.
Living in a 2-bedroom, isn't it? In
a 2-bed. So 3 children have to share 1 room and we have our own room. And it's gotten a little cramped, so we need more space. Secondly, we're also a leasehold property, which means whilst we own the house, we actually don't own the land. And that accumulates over time. So we have to pay to be on the land. And not only that, but our leasehold years is a lot lower than it should be, because people usually tend to look for 100 years plus. We're now on 77 years, which will be as of next July. So it costs a lot of money to be on a leasehold property, and it also costs in the long run because our property depreciates in value. And the third reason is Kev actually wanted to get out for his personal business reasons. We wanted to take on a bakery and start doing it out north. And we'd found this beautiful little shop / house, which is quite rare to find. And we really wanted to do it up and start a business. We had to give up on that idea and no longer pursue it, because with how long it was taking to even sell, to focus on a property that we hadn't even bought yet was just silly. So we had to give that one up. And I think it sold within a couple of months after we realised that we weren't going to be able to buy it and have that dream anyway. So we ended up putting our property up in January with an estate agent that we decided to choose based on the fact that they actually had sold next door for quite a good price, in our opinion anyway, for a lease property. And we went with them not knowing that they weren't probably the best people we should have gone with.
They are more for renters than sellers, so
that was the first mistake we made, I think, that we didn't research estate agents. So our advice to you guys,
and they were the cheapest.
They were very cheap, and that's another issue, that don't always go for the price, and also maybe shop around with estate agents, because it's really important. Once we realised that they weren't very good estate agents, we decided to jump ship, which is quite risky, because people on like search sites for properties can actually see how many times you change estate agents. But we thought that it was the best decision to do because they just really weren't getting it done. So we went with another estate agents which were a little bit higher up. But we must say that we did actually go through a lot of estate agents, didn't we? We decided to research. We took our property off of the first estate agent list, and then we went and researched everyone. Like, we went to everything. I think we even went with like sell it yourself companies like Purple Bricks and things like that. But we settled on the estate agent we went with. They were a little bit higher in price, but they seemed like the best fit. They weren't like dodgy. No. Some estate agents, they really aren't. They have a reputation for a reason.
With these new estate agents, we started to get into more views. It went okay.
Yeah, it did go okay. It was slow, really slow. Slow and steady. They had like 6 or 7 in the first week, and then after that, which is quite typical, they usually phone people on their books, and then they try and get all of those people to come and view a property, whether they are a good fit or not. They tend to just try and get the numbers in first, and that sometimes works. It doesn't always work, especially when you've got quite a specific property that's a 2-bedroom, like we've got, and it's a masonette and it's a lease property. They're very hard to find the right fit with somebody. So
I thought it would be sold quite easy.
Yeah, we did. We thought we'd sell really, really quickly. So numbers were only trickling in ever so slightly with the second estate agent that we went with, and so we decided to go with a third. I have 2 estate agents working at the same time to try and sell our property. Sometimes that can build up competition between the 2 of them. So we went with another estate agent that we had previously looked at when we looked at a lot of other ones. They were kind of a close second, but because their commission was so high, we decided not to go with them.
Their style is very bullish.
Yeah. They're very like attack. They'll sell.
Which is good for selling something. It's not my type of style.
No. We decided to have 2 estate agents on at the same time to try and really push for a sale. It ended up that we actually got quite a lot of viewings in for the first week with our new estate agents. And it went really well. We thought it was going really, really well. It was quite surprising how many people we got in compared to how many people we had got in with other estate agents. We were getting loads of people in through the door within the first week. They have this motto that they can sell properties within the first 4 weeks. And after the first week of getting like 10, it then went right back down to 1. And by 4 weeks, we were still unsold. Once we got to that 4-week point, we were kind of like, well, what's going on? Why haven't we sold? You told us we would, and we're still here again.
And they blamed the valuation again.
Yeah, so they tried to cut us down on price, which we refused. And then they tried an open house, which means that loads of people can come in at the same time and view your property, or one at a time.
They said
come in every day.
They said around 15 to 30 people would come.
Yeah, but it actually ended up only being 2.
Yeah.
We only ended up getting 2 people into our open house in the end. We did get an offer from one of them, but it was an investor with a considerably lower offer than we were looking at. So because it was our first offer, it was so exciting that we could actually potentially sell our house, but it came at a massive cost that we wouldn't sell for the price we wanted to.
In the meantime, our second estate agent had someone also very keen on the property.
Yeah.
So we
got it in really quickly before making a decision, and they ended up putting in an offer as well for a lot more, and it was more around the asking price that we wanted in the first place, which was a lot better. So we ended up going with them, and we actually sold our house on this day last year, the 17th of September 2019. We're super excited. We had finally sold our house, and then it was all pretty quiet from then on. We did all the paperwork, we had a solicitor in place, and we were on track to move in December of 2019.
Then came the bombshell.
We actually ended up falling through in December, which was so gutting because we were so excited, and we think we were around 2 weeks away from actually selling, and it all fell through. So we were gutted. Part of the chain was still there, so our buyer still wanted our property, but he actually had to resell his, so we had to wait until he resold his property, which he did end up doing late December. So it was back on track. We were in a new chain of 4 people, and we were on track to move in around late January, early February. Between January and February, we actually had realised that the solicitors that our buyer hadn't even got all of our questions done and signed off.
So we went as further forward as we thought we were.
Yeah, we thought that we were actually all done and completed, but it turned out we were not even halfway through.
They needed a special search on their property, which takes a month or so, which delayed it. And in that meantime, Corona started picking up the pace. So
we had heard about Corona in about February. We were due to move on February the 28th. We had got everything ready. Kev quit his job and we were all ready to move. And then we realised that not only had our buyer solicited mucked up and had even more questions, we were getting 12 to 14 questions a week, and they were usually the same questions. Basically, the solicitor our buyer had bought were so bad, they were the main cause of why we fell through what will be in a minute the second time. So we also had Corona kind of starting to make itself known,
which led to full lockdown
here in England in March. This meant that the second person in our chain, so our buyer's buyer, refused outright to move at all until lockdown was all clear. We also had an investor at the bottom of the chain who also wanted to wait until lockdown was completely clear. And at that time in March in the UK, we were completely uncertain with how long lockdown for our country was going to last. And I think it ended up lasting all the way until
July.
So
the investor at the bottom wanted a cheaper price.
He put a deal out to the person he was buying from that they either lower the price of their property or
delay it to September.
Yeah, delay it to September, because he was an investor. Obviously, investing in properties to rent at the time wasn't the most sensible idea. So he wanted the price of the property to go down, and obviously she refused. A couple of weeks after that, the chain actually fell through again, and the investor ended up pulling out completely. This was in April of 2020.
So the chain again was broken, but we kept our buyer. He kept his buyer, but she needed to find...
She needed to sell her house.
Yeah. Which luckily it sold in that week.
Yeah, it sold within like 2 days. We were so lucky that she had got that sold super quick.
And on we go again.
Yeah, so we had to start all over again and wait for the bottom to catch up with the rest. We also at the time had still questions to sort through. We were getting more and more frustrated with our buyer solicitor, who were mucking around, quite honestly. They were rated the second worst solicitors in the country, so we got really lucky with that. And they were still mucking us all around, and we had to keep working through the questions. But luckily this time we had more time because the bottom had to catch up anyway. We were moving forward with a new chain and a new buyer at the bottom of that chain, and we were getting through our questions slowly but surely. Then we get an email come through again 2 weeks before we're supposed to be sorting out a date with our new chain, that the chain had again fallen through due to concerns of road extensions that were happening near the property they were going to buy. This was now the third time that this had fallen through, and we were a little bit like, wow. We actually thought this time round that we were going to do it. We had all of our paperwork officially done 2 weeks before this actually happened, and it had taken that long to get our personal paperwork done. So that says how bad that solicitors really was, because it had taken us 9 months just to get our personal paperwork all finished.
Not only that, we had plans ourselves on our future, and as a family being in jeopardy for this long, it's taking its toll.
You're kind of living out of boxes, or you're kind of starting to think about boxing up, cleaning out, kind of touching up the house to get ready for these people, and then it's fallen through again, and then you kind of have to unbox your life and then box it back up and then unbox your life, and it's happened 3 times now. So we're really tired of just living in a point where we can't we didn't want to get new jobs, we didn't want to change things around too much, because we could have gone out quicker than this, quicker than we thought, and it turned out we're still here.
So we had 3 options. We either pulled the property off the market, we stick with the chain and him resell, or we resell to someone else.
Yeah. At the time, I think we were both we didn't have a clue what to do. You get to this point where we had a lot riding on this as well. Like, we're tied in with quite a bit of debt, which we're hoping to make a video about anyway with you guys, to kind of share more of our backstory as to why our move is so important to us. There's a lot of money tied into the house as well, which we needed to release. And we actually haven't had a car for 8-9 months, because it broke down just before lockdown, and we couldn't really even afford to buy a new one.
Jobs.
So there's a lot riding on trying to move, and everything's kind of been put on hold and pause, and it's almost got to the point where you have to stop hoping that you're going to go anywhere, because if you do, it's such a letdown when it falls through again. It's been one of the toughest things we as a couple, as a family, have ever had to do in our lives, ever. This is way harder than like having kids, family issues. We've had so much go on in 10 years, because that's how long we've been together. This is the hardest by far. It's been the most stressful thing we've ever had to do.
it also has affected our jobs.
Yeah.
We've both got brand new jobs in those times. We've both let them go.
Yeah.
We've let go of business.
Yeah, we got rid
We've
of our
applied
business.
for new places. Well, we didn't know where we'd be. It's
No.
either, are we in a certain county or are we still in Essex?
What we haven't told you was that once we've sold our house, we were actually going to move in with my parents who live in Norfolk. So we're in Essex, which means we have to relocate. So a lot has to go into a relocation rather than just selling and then buying a new property within the area we already are in.
So we decided to stick with our chain for the another
We had to
time.
take on a lot of advice. We talked to our parents, colleagues. We talked to our estate agent for a long time just to make sure that is it really worth staying when we could potentially sell it in a new chain or potentially sell it to an investor, even just to get it off our hands, because the longer we are here, the less years are on that lease. So it's like sitting on a ticking time bomb.
Recently we heard they sold the bottom property, so the chain's back on.
Yeah, the chain is right back to where it was 3 or 4 months ago.
And that's where we are now.
That's where we are now. And we're sticking with it, and we're going to say 4 times a charm. We thought it might be 3rd time's a charm, but we're going with 4. And we're really hoping that we can
Get out.
get this one done.
Leave.
We can move.
Walk out the door.
I want to move. We want to move. We've got so many great, amazing plans that we are so emotionally invested in this, because all of that can't happen without us moving house. And yeah, we put our absolute hearts and souls into this, and it's been devastating, but we are back fighting, and we're going to hopefully get out again and make it 4th time.
We'll see.
We'll see. So it's actually taken a toll on our family as well. Our kids are aware of the situation, and it's been really hard to come together and be a family when me and Kev are dealing with such a big amount of stress. So I think the kids have really felt that as well, don't you? They've really felt it. It's been like hell over and over again. It's literally like been living on Groundhog Day. We've been going round and round in this. It's like stuck on the same day for months. It's the weirdest thing. And even though Corona had actually happened, for us it made it way better, because we had no car, we had no money, I was the only one working. Luckily I work at a local supermarket, so my job was safe, and I actually had increased my hours there, so money wise we were okay, but we had no car, we had no way of doing our own thing.
What I learned is don't put a date on it.
No. Kev kept fixating on a date, and he would be like, yes, we're going to be gone by the 28th. We'll be out, promise, and getting things ready, and started boxing things up, and you started quitting things. And I was like, oh, it's really risky. Until they give you an official date, it's really not advised. But he did it anyway. And we've learnt, well, Kev has learnt, don't fixate on a date. Wait until you get that date, because anything can happen. So that's our moving story to date. We are currently now waiting for all of the bottom chain's paperwork and everything they need to do to catch up to where we are, and then we may get to the point where we actually get a date and we can move. But until then, we're just carrying on.
To be continued.
Yes, very much to be continued. So thanks for sticking around and watching, guys. If there's any questions or anything we've missed, please let us know, and we are happy to answer any questions you have. Thanks very much, and we will see you next Saturday with a new video.
See you next Saturday.
Yeah, see you next Saturday. Bye, guys. Cool. God, this is getting They have this kind of motto that they can sell. Shut up, stop there. This is why it's such a hard job.
Yeah.
Are you done? I don't think he came out. I keep losing my train of thought.
Yeah.
We
5 were booked. 5 were booked. 5 were.
It doesn't matter.
Okay.
Is it called? really, no,
For me,
not feeling that.
for me to, no. I thought it would sell in 3 weeks.
Yeah, it was great. Oh, I put May. Maybe it was May. Yeah, every time you do that. Luckily, I work kind of similar. Yeah, mine's alright actually.
Put it there.
Are we still going?
Yeah. I'm gonna stop.
What?